Welcome into a special edition of Conquering Heroes, and I am fired up that it was a success on a surprise until literally I pressed live and go on YouTube. Jon Jansen thought he was gearing up for another Conquering Heroes interview.
Yeah.
But he is on one. It's just his own for being in the Hall of Honor in 2025. Is this genuinely a surprise to you?
It is. You heard me just crush up my notes and all the work that I did to get ready for the other interview. Apparently, I will just discard those, use those at another time. I am surprised.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to keep the surprises going here. Hopefully, I told you, I had to be very conspicuous about this. I had to clear out an hour schedule. Normally, these Conquering Heroes are like 20 minutes. So hopefully you don't have anything at 3:30 because we got you for about an hour. We're live on YouTube. This will be on Conquering Heroes on Thursday as well. But if you've been around this podcast and these streams for a little while, of course, Jon has interviewed most Hall of Honor people over the course of the last, 4 or 5 years now. And Jon went in a few weeks back. So had to figure out a way to do it very uniquely. Now, I am going to start it the way that every interview of these start with Jon Jansen, or when he's the interviewer, and that is
when Ward called you. What was your reaction? I could have asked myself all the questions. You know what?
That's the only one from Jon Jansen. I promise you that.
This is funny because for just a little look behind the scenes as well. This was supposed to happen last Wednesday, and I took the day off, and I called Brian. I'm like, yeah, you know what, buddy? I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to have that, but we got the bye week. I want to take a couple of days to refresh and get ready for the sprint to the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I can't be too upset spending a little time getting ready for a different interview when I canceled on you originally. So are we live on YouTube as well?
We're live on YouTube, and we got some fun surprises for you here over the next little while. So I've had to tell a few others who, if everything goes smoothly, will be joining us a little bit later to keep it PG. I ask you to do that as well. And all that.
You got a dump button?
Yeah, we don't. We don't have a dump button. So this is real life. Like, yeah, you got to be on your P's and Q's, be in your best behavior. But no, in all seriousness, when Ward called you, what was your reaction?
Hold on a second here. I'm texting my wife because I told her, I'm like, yeah, I'll be up at about 3:30. Got some stuff to do. And so I'm just letting her know that it's going to be a little bit later. So my first reaction, I shared this at the banquet, was, when the boss calls, there's, really only a couple of things. One, hey, more work, or two, sorry, we're going to have to let you go. And I've gotten that call a couple of times, once from the Redskins, once from the Lions. It's been a little while, so I was out of practice, and thankfully that wasn't the case. But I was obviously tremendously honored to have to be in the Hall of Honor. And you go down the list of, and I just was looking at all the other football players that are in there, and a lot of them I've interviewed as well. Dan Deerdorf, who, I've had, great opportunity to work with, get to know, but it's guys like that when you are in the Hall of Honor and you are on that same list, it really is. And I kind of feel like, for Deion's had this about the Hall of Fame, where there should be a second level of those that are just, hey, way above everyone else. And Dan would be on that. Some other guys would be on that, but just to be in the same building as those guys, it's a tremendous honor.
All right. Well, speaking of the boss, he has a question for you.
Jon, what is your favorite memory of playing at the University of Michigan?
This is going to be fun.
Just you wait.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I got to make sure there's nothing. I'm doing this at home. I'll make sure there's nothing in the background that is conspicuous. My favorite memory of playing at the University of Michigan, man, you know what? I asked this question knowing that it's a tough one, that it would be hard for me to answer. And obviously the 97 season, winning the national championship, that is that is one of the top 2 or 3 highlights of my life. And so, I would have to definitely talk about that. But just, I think for an individual moment, and I think there's a lot of people that may remember this, maybe not, but we were playing Colorado, and I believe it was in that 97 season. But there was a block that I had where I pancaked a guy and I bent him over backwards, and I felt, in the moment, right? I had crushed this dude. And then a couple of weeks later, Terry Malone, our offensive line coach, threw a Sports Illustrated at me. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, he goes, oh, well, hey, we got to make sure that, we give you your props. And, because it was obviously an offensive line where we didn't care about, individual accolades. And he was somewhat, chastising me for being in Sports Illustrated. But there was a 2-page spread, and it was a picture of me burying this guy from Colorado. And there's a lot of plays that I remember throughout the course of my career, but when that one happened, I knew that it felt good, and I knew that it probably was going to show up on film good. I had no idea it was going to be a 2-page spread in Sports Illustrated.
You've talked plenty about the fact that you were benched in your first game. I mean, when you think back to that and now where you are at this point, it has to be pretty remarkable that, I mean, that could have been a pivot point in such a different way. And now all that you've accomplished and the Hall of Honor being the next aspect of it. Did you ever think about that moment when some of the great things happened in the aftermath 2, 3, 4 years down the road?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I think back about, getting benched, or, I even go back further to not even playing football, in high school. And I'm going to share that story a little bit later, but, yeah, we were playing against Virginia. I played the first half. I started, it was my redshirt freshman year, and not my best performance. Gave up a sack, got into halftime, and Coach DeBoard said, hey, we're gonna put in Tommy Gwines. And so he played the second half. So the whole second half, obviously I'm there to support. I'm trying to, we didn't have video at the time like they do now. We just had the pictures. So I'm, flipping through pictures, making sure he sees what he's supposed to see. But in the entire time, I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm never going to play. I had my chance and it passed me by. And then Coach DeBoard brought me into his office that next week before we played our second game. And, he said, hey, we started you for a reason. We're not gonna completely bench you. We're gonna rotate you and Thomas throughout the course of the season, but we want you to still start, and we want you to learn. We want you to develop. We believe that you could be a great player. And he gave me a cut up of Mike Tyson fights, and he said, "This is what I thought we were going to get from you every single time you came off the ball, because you did it in spring ball, you did it in training camp. We just didn't see it in the first game. And I want you to watch this, watch some of your film from training camp, and then that's how I want you to take the field every single time." And I mean, from that moment until my last snap as a Detroit Lion, that's how I approached every single time I came off the football. And especially when I give the pregame speeches now and I talk about that first snap, that's really what the emotions and that's what I want to bring to the table for these guys and kind of relay that message onto them.
All right, next up is the person you probably ask the most questions of anybody around Schembechler Hall these days.
Jon, appreciate you, man. Congrats on all your success. Congrats on being inducted to the Hall. But you ask all these questions, and sometimes you try to grill me. But I'd like to ask you a question. What's your favorite spot to eat in Ann Arbor? Appreciate you, buddy.
There's the head coach, Sherwood Moore, asking the hard-hitting questions of Jon Jansen.
And I do appreciate you making sure I know who it is that's asking the question.
That was more for the viewers and listeners. Just making sure.
Yeah. Name that voice. Grant Newsom. No, sorry, Coach. So, gosh, my favorite place to eat. I would probably have to say, well, I mean, for Keith McKinstry will never let me come into Spots again if I don't say Mr. Spots, and that's probably the place that I ate the most. I would start at Mr. Spots, and then I would go to Pizza Bob's for a milkshake. And so, yeah, that would be the number one. The other place that I go a bunch with Eddie Magnus, who was one of my college roommates, the head manager in that 97 team, as well as Lloyd, is Benny's, which is right over on I forget the name of the road right now, but it's just, it's walking distance from Schembeckler Hall, and it's kind of in the parking lot there of Revel and Roll. So yeah, those are the places that that I love to go and eat in Ann Arbor.
All right. I don't know if we've ever actually asked Sharon that. Have you? I can't remember.
No, but it's on the list now. Everyone that is now going to ask me a question better know that this question is going to come back to them at some point as well.
Well, that's a great way to segue to our first live guest on the show. It's Mark Campbell with us here. What's up, Mark? I don't know can Mark hear us?
Mark. No, but I'm going to text him right now and tell him that, hey, thanks for taking the time out of your
Can you hear us? I don't think he can. I don't think he can hear us. I'm going to text him because we got another quick guest here. It's Jim Brandstatter. Hello, Jim. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. It's typical of a tight end that they can't even figure out how to get on the air. I'm surprised Jansen had made it. If somebody hadn't with Jansen, he wouldn't have made it either. But Campbell, there's no surprise that he's lost.
It's the problem with those Clausen guys.
You know what? Geographically, they are challenged. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Jim, how you doing?
John, I'm great. First of all, I think the idea here is to congratulate you for going into the Hall of Honor.
Thank you.
You deserve it. Clearly, you know what I've always said about Hall of Fames and that stuff is that what really makes it for me is look at the names that are there ahead of you. And when you look at the names in the Hall of Honor, Jansen, you are in some high cotton, my man. That is big time stuff. And congratulations, you deserve it. John, you've been exemplary in everything that you've done for the University of Michigan. So congratulations. And how about those names that are there with you that you've joined? That to me really makes it.
Yeah, when you look at that list, and I mean, I look at it now, and I look at the guys that I know are going to be on there at some point as well, and it almost brings a tear to your eye because there are so many legends that we talked about that when we were playing. Mike Gittleson always brought up those names of the Michigan football legends, and now to be amongst those guys and have stories told about your time in Ann Arbor or your time with Michigan football, it's a dream come true.
It is. And I've always said, and you've heard me say it, is that we have all of us have stood on the shoulders of those that came before us to create the tradition and that great foundation is the University of Michigan that people can build upon that just gets better and better and better. And now you're one of those blocks of granite. You're in that tradition. And that's one of those neat things that when you go to your grave, you can say, I had a part in something that was much bigger than myself.
Yeah, and I mean it's not just obviously, I'm going in for my time as a player, but being able to be with you and Dan in the booth and be a part of the next lineage of things that I could do. And I want to tell a quick story about Jim Brandstatter because when I left Ann Arbor, I told him, I said, Jim, I someday I want to do exactly what you're doing. I want to come back to Michigan and I want to be the radio voice. I want to be the next in line. And I asked him, I'm like, how long do you think you're going to do this? And he would always tell me, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years. So 4 or 5 years into my career, I'm back for a game, and I ask him, hey, how long are you going to do this? I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years. Okay. I get done, and I ask him again. I'm like, hey, Jim, I'm retired. I'm like, I'm really looking for something to do. How long are you going to do this? I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years. I don't know. 25 years later, he finally said, I'm ready to hand it off to you and Doug. So I'm still standing on the shoulders of giants.
Well, one more thing about that same story. And this is a question for you. I've known Jon since he played, obviously, when he was recruited in '97, two-time captain, and I broadcast all of his games. I watched his career in the NFL. When I was broadcasting Detroit Lions games, he was with Washington. The guy has a career after his days at Michigan. And when we talked, he said, Jim, I always want to come back to Michigan. I want to come back. I'll even come back and be like a grad assistant unpaid coach. And at that point, and you will remember this, I said to him, you need medication, Jon. You seriously need a psychiatric evaluation here. And I told him, I says, well, why? And that's the question I'm asking you now. This was your dream. This was one of the things that you had in your heart way back when you were with Joe Gibbs at Washington playing for the then Redskins, an NFL career. He could have done anything. Jon Jansen could have gone on with the connections that you make in the NFL to do anything. And yet, in his heart, in his brain, there was this single-minded focus. I want to get back to Michigan. Jon, tell the people out there listening, where did that come from? Why did you have that focus? Because I find that to be one of the most compelling things about you, your personality, your career, that you had this thing, even though there were a lot of opportunities out there, this was the one. Why?
Well, I mean, Michigan football, from the moment that Gary Moeller asked me to be a part of the program and offered me the opportunity to come to Michigan to play football, to get an education, I fell in love with everything about Michigan football, with the university, with the city of Ann Arbor. And this will probably be a bad comparison. I know a lot of people are, very wrapped up in, and not wrapped up, but they're involved with their church, with their religion, with their family, with a lot of different things. And one of the things that has always been very almost like a religion to me is Michigan football. And it's because of the influence of Gary Moeller, Lloyd Carr, Mike DeBoer, Terry Malone, Jim Brandstatter, Dan Dierdorf, and all of the guys that have come since then, Jake Long, Mike Hart, Chad Henne, like all of these great individuals that have played and have worn the maize and blue, the winged helmet. It's just a great family. It's a great brotherhood, and it's always been something that I have wanted to be a part of my life. Football is a great game, and it's addictive. There's a lot of things about football that I don't ever want to get away from, but the best place in the world is Michigan football, and it's where I've always wanted to be, and it's because of the influence of those great men that they've had on my life.
Well, those of us from the past think you're one of the greatest representatives of all time in regards to what Michigan men are, what they mean, what the program does. It creates an individual with a great deal of responsibility and understanding of what's important, and that's something bigger than themselves, but they're a part of building it. And congratulations to you. Being in the Hall of Honor is a big deal, long overdue, and congratulations, although I am a little miffed. The other day on Inside Michigan Football, you talked about how the offensive line is tremendously smart, maybe the smartest guys in the field. Now, that I agree with, but then you use Dierdorf as an example. Seriously, Jon. You could have come up, Stephon Humphreys. This guy is making medical equipment for people who need heart transplants. There are some people in the offensive line that are doing unbelievable things from a standpoint of lawyers and doctors, and you use Dierdorf, Jon. Seriously.
Oh, okay, so
Seriously,
in my defense,
what were you thinking?
In my
Congratulations,
defense,
Jon, on the honor.
So we were talking about Phil Bromley, and
yeah, exactly. What a great story that was.
Yeah, great story. And so I wanted to make the comparison because Doug, like, being the wannabe special teamer that he is, wearing his long sleeves and his gloves and all of that. So I brought up the example of Phil Bromley has been doing this for 40 years. Like he is running the film department. And I started with the fact that offensive linemen, and I thought you brought up some great examples there. Offensive linemen are what makes this world work. Stephon Humphreys, right? He's keeping people healthy. He's developing medical devices from the president of the United States.
Thank you.
All the way down. It is not just offensive linemen, but it's Michigan offensive linemen.
Now, I want to interject here because we're in a little bit of a traffic jam, but I want to see, with all that great talk about the offensive line, do we find out if a tight end can use the cell phone properly? Mark, can you hear us now?
Of course I can.
Well,
of course I can.
Welcome to the party.
Oh, Brandy, you slippery dog, you. I tell you what, I'm really excited, but when does Greasy get on? I can't wait to congratulate him. This is going to be great.
Well, hey, Mark, all I can say is we were really delighted there for about, 30 seconds to see your steering wheel and your dash and then the top of your roof of your car.
You had your game face on there.
Yeah, look,
that was his smolder.
Unlike the Michigan men you just described, I would say I have some IT difficulties.
No, well, there's an understatement.
Yeah, well, look, Brandy, you play the cards you're dealt, buddy. That's for sure.
You've done really well with what you've got, and both John and I congratulate you for that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know this, Brandy, but you know John's middle name? He was named after a Michigan great, actually our AD.
Yes,
John Ward.
Is that
Jansen.
right? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
actually.
that's what he was. Another little known fact, Brandy, you'll appreciate this one. He is the second player to ever play 50 games at the University of Michigan.
I knew he played a billion of them,
Yeah, I was the first, Brandy. I was leading you jumped in too quick. That was actually a comma, not a period. But I was the first, was the part. But
Can I say how spiteful John was?
A tight end talking about punctuation, a comma, not a period. I am duly impressed.
Yes. It's a Michigan graduate.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
I can tell you just
an extra year to graduate. That's why John only played in 50. You had to play in more.
Yeah. Well, look, you play the cards you're dealt, right? I would have played in as many games as possible, man. I would have played another year in Michigan. I mean, heck, if you were around the COVID years, we could have got 7-8 years in.
I know. Yeah. Hey, absolutely. I would have too, but I came from an era where you could only play varsity for 3 years. So
that's something else, yeah.
Yeah, we only played 29 games or something like that. I forget.
Yeah, my grandpa told me about that story.
Nice, John. Thank you. I didn't ask for that. Okay, I just was making a comment. And what does John do? Right to the jugular. To the jugular. Plays the age card right away. Thanks, John. Yeah. Someday when you're out there and you're telling the next guy, it'll be 4 or 5 years.
Right.
He's going to come back and haunt your big fat butt someday too.
Yeah. Oh, I know. So I trust you. I did the math, and if one of these guys right now were to do the same thing, by the time I put as many years in as you did, I'd be about 85 years old. So it just amazes me how fast time goes.
When I was calling it quits in 81 or 2021. And I looked at, when I started, and it was 41, 42 years. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I remember broadcasting Campbell's games, your games. I remember back when Anthony played, and even Wangler. I'm broadcasting games when Wangler's a quarterback. And I'm thinking to myself, where did all that time go? Because, it went like that. People ask me now, it's like, give me your top 5 quarterbacks. And they don't put Chad Henne in there. They don't put Bob Chappius in there. And I go, wait, boys. This guy Chappius won a national championship. And Chad Henne, I don't know whether people remember this, but Chad wasn't supposed to start his freshman year. Matt Gutierrez was supposed to be the starting quarterback. He hurt his shoulder, and Chad, who nobody had ever heard of, walks out as a freshman against Virginia. I forget who it was against, but That was Scott Dreisbach, but walks out as a freshman, and nobody can replace him for 4 straight years. Chad Henne was one great quarterback at the University.
Tough, and he tough as nails.
Yeah.
Remember the game against Illinois when he's playing with a separated shoulder? Scott Loeffler said he'd never seen anything like it. Toughest act he'd ever seen at a quarterback at the University.
Yeah, you almost have to be careful about mentioning that around Loeffler because he will talk about it for an hour straight.
Oh, I know. Did Loeffler ever tell you the story about the comeback against Minnesota up in Minneapolis?
Well, he was in Booth, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
you remember that? We were down like 100 points. We had no shot at winning that game, right? And we make a comeback, and John Navarre's the quarterback. And he's right next to us, right, in the booth. We come back and win the game, which had no right winning the game. So I rush down to the locker room, and Lloyd is giving the guys the speech and what a great comeback it was. And the locker room is just – it's unbelievable. It's electric because of what this team had done. And I'm standing there, and in the John, somebody is retching awfully. I mean, they're throwing up their guts. Their intestines are coming up. And I'm thinking, man, somebody's really sick. And out walks Loeffler, and I go, are you all right? Should we get the doctor? And he goes, no, I was chewing tobacco, and I got so excited I started swallowing. He literally was sick to his stomach. He couldn't even enjoy that victory. Sorry if that's too indelicate.
That obviously came to mind in congratulating John on his Hall of Honor induction. It made total sense. That's the perfect story.
What came on his mind when Mark mentioned Loeffler and some of the stories.
Well, that's my fault, Brandy. First of all, it's totally my fault. I thought this was for Gracie anyways. I thought it was for Gracie. I'm not sure what it came on for John.
It's my fault. It's my fault for telling the story. And we're here for Jansen anyway, but it's clearly both you and I, Mark, we don't care. We could go on and talk a lot and not have Jansen involved.
Well, I want to get this happening again, but we've got a traffic jam. So, Jim,
let me go. John, congratulations. Nobody deserves it more. Nobody deserves this kind of accolade and the kind of fun you're having with all your teammates and all the Michigan guys more than you do. God bless you.
Yep. I want to make sure
Karsh here.
Karsh here. He's been patiently
waiting. You know what? No.
Before Jim leaves, I just want to.
The best part was when John said the wannabe. I love that part.
I wanted to make sure Doug could defend himself before we get back to saying how great.
I wanted to know how long Doug was listening.
Well, I've been listening for a long time. Campbell, is it true that Jansen used to tell people plays before they happened because they couldn't stop it? Specifically, Jared DeVries at the end of the Iowa game in '97. Were you lined up next to John with him giving away the plays and you guys shoving it down their throat?
There was a period there where I would say, John, not only John, we all felt very confident in what we were doing. Sure. Yeah. John was a stud, man. You guys don't need me to tell you that, but he wasn't much of a talker necessarily on the field. A great leader on all that, but I don't remember him talking to the opponents a lot. That kind of caught me off guard. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I like that. Look, John's my oldest friend. I don't know if you guys know this, but we grew up a couple blocks from each other, and he always, why did he come to Michigan? Well, of course, I was going there. So, it's a coattail kind of thing. Brandy, you know what I'm saying now, right? He's following you now.
No, it's a coattail. You were the prime guy in that recruiting class. Jansen just came in behind you.
Yeah. Both of us behind Raise a Light.
All right, Bruce Motti, can you confirm this?
I didn't know I was joining the Jim Brandstatter podcast.
Oh
no! I had no idea that I was going to join the Jim Brandstatter podcast.
Hey, Bruce,
you guys realize? Listen, before Jim continues, I know I'm going to shut him off here, but before Jim continues, before John was doing the color commentary, and before Jim jumped in as the play-by-play guy, I listened to Jim Brandstatter. And I've had offensive linemen for the most part as I've worked up in the booth. And I'm telling you one thing, John doesn't talk half as much as Jim.
Even today,
I know that's the one thing Deerdorf told me. He says, if you don't have anything smart to say, then don't say it. Yes. Unlike Brandon.
I lasted 41 years, so obviously I was doing something right.
Yeah, you sure did, Jim.
More importantly, I worked really cheaply.
And at Michigan, that's important.
Oh, back in the days when Cannon was there, that was really important.
Oh,
You know what we need, guys?
What?
We need one more offensive lineman who
Oh,
turns.
God. We got him off the golf course?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack off the golf course.
Yeah, where in the world is Jack
amazing.
Miller?
The Brandstatter podcast with Jansen and Campbell as two guys just joining us.
Can I just say this? What I told you guys of how we're going to handle this completely different. The Brady Bunch style is way better.
I did. Okay, so everybody, Jim, can we ask John a question?
That was the idea. That was the idea of this thing when we all got around. But I
want to tell a quick story. I want to tell a quick story real quick.
All of the offensive linemen that are here.
All right, let John talk. Let John. I'm going to allow you to talk.
Then we have a sports information director, one of those awful media types, ink-stained wretches.
I think this is a filibuster at this point.
Live on YouTube.
What's the story?
I was like, okay, hey, Brian, at any point, push the button and I go away.
Oh, God.
I would never do that to you, Jim. If John says it, I will do it.
Feel free because it's getting crowded in here.
John, tell your story.
All right, so I want to tell a story. Mark brought up the fact that both he and I played in 50 games when we were at Michigan. And he brought up the fact that I've known Mark. He's my oldest friend. He mentioned that, like, the other side of the block is where Mark and I both grew up. He went to a private school. I went to a public school. But we owned Clawson from the age of 4 until we left for Ann Arbor. But when we both had committed, and the summer after that, both Mark and I would drive to Ann Arbor from, I don't know, it was maybe mid-June, whenever we graduated high school.
It was awful.
Every single day, we would drive from Clawson to Ann Arbor because we both thought, hey, as freshmen, we're taking over that tight end room.
Yeah, time to dominate. Yeah. So we were coming up for all the spring practices. I was only going at one point just because John was going. I'm like, yes, I have to. You had that beautiful truck. That thing.
Yeah.
It was brown.
Can I interject really quickly here? Because, again, the format, this is way better than what I came up with. This is great. But I have a few more audio clips. And on this story, John, I would like to welcome in another person to ask you a question that everyone will know who this is.
Jon Jansen, Lloyd Carr, congratulations on your induction into the Michigan Hall of Honor. There is no greater recognition of your contributions to the University of Michigan. Did you really think that you were fast enough to be a tight end at Michigan?
Continue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. I was the fastest tight end in that recruiting class. And then I fell in love with Training Table, and by Christmas, I was the largest tight end in that recruiting class.
Great to hear his voice.
Oh,
are you sure that wasn't Jeff Delverne?
It could have been. It could have been. He does a great impression.
Special shout out to, you mentioned him earlier, John, Eddie Mangus, and your wife Lisa helped get that clip from Lloyd. Really, really cool that he did it, and it was a perfect fit for what you all were talking about. Mark, do you want to defend yourself on that?
Can I ask one quick question? When you guys were coming up, yes, I can. When you guys were coming up in the summer to the tight ends room, who were the tight ends in there that you were taking over for?
It was Vanderbeek and Remiersma.
Dave Remiersma. Wow. Yeah.
No, it was Jay Remiersma.
Dre, yeah. He was a former quarterback.
Yes.
Too, you know that?
Yep. Played in Buffalo for a long time. And then there was one more who was a freshman who had the pipe bomb.
Damon Jones.
Damon Jones. There you go.
Damon
He was
Jones,
there as well.
He was our explosive tight end.
Yeah, he was a hell of an athlete.
Yeah, he played in the league for a while.
Yes, he did.
He did.
With New England, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that. You know, what's funny is I have two offensive linemen there, and Mark, you'll love this one. So everybody, I don't think people really understand what offensive linemen do. They always talk about the quarterbacks. They always talk about the receivers, all this type of stuff. And first off, I want to congratulate Jon, because I just got on it, who not only made the Michigan Hall of Honor, but is also, like Jim Brandstatter, a member of the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. And of course, Jim made it as a broadcaster. Jansen had the talent to do it as a football player. But going back to you guys, I asked Jon, because really nobody understands really what you guys do on the offensive line for the most part, in the offensive lineman. So I asked you a long time ago, how many times did you hold in a game? Because I don't think people understand holding. I want to ask you again, how many times, Jon, did you hold in a game?
Never,
not once.
No, you told me another answer. You said
every play.
Yes. Every play. You told me every play after high school you held.
Yeah, and sometimes falsely accused. But yeah, I mean, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Look, that's what you have to. You're always outmatched. I mean, it's tough. Offensive line is that's the toughest position in football aside from a quarterback, if you were to ask me. You're always outmatched. You're typically going against somebody now in today's world, a too deep defensive line, right? So athletic guys, when they get tired, they bring another guy in. So, you got to be smarter, a technician, good with your hands, have grit, all those kind of things. And Jon, you were one of the best, buddy.
He was.
Congrats. I appreciate it, Mark. It's great to see you, man. How's your son doing down there in Bowling Green?
He's doing great, man. So he moved tight end to offensive guard, right? So you know that. He wants to get some work in with you this summer, actually. But yeah, so he's played some this year, but it's really more of a learning year for him. But we'll see. I mean, he's got a shot to be a 3-year starter there.
Hey, I do have to ask Jim Brandstatter a question. How do you think Jon's doing, by the way, on the broadcast?
Oh, well, great. He and Doug are.
We already talked about that.
You did?
Next.
I did want to say, if anyone has to go, I do. The goal was to ask Jon questions. We got one from Jim. Mark, you've been on for about 30 minutes, 20 of which you actually answered.
I have one more question for him. I have one more question. Regarding your coaching career, Jon, what do you see from you in the future?
Oh, I would love to coach. I would absolutely love to coach. I would love to coach.
Pause. Is it true that you have coached for 9 years and you're 0-9 in the Regina Marion Powerpuff game?
No, I only coached for 2 years in that game, and we were 0 for 2. Going up against the Lomas Brown coached Regina team. Are you now coaching for Regina?
No, I am not.
Yeah.
No, I am not. No, that is a serious commitment, by the way. Yeah. Like what they expect from those in Powder Puff is they practice. You tell me, don't they practice for months?
Oh, they practice for months. They practice all summer long, every single day, 5 days a week, sometimes on Saturdays for a 1-game season.
That's nuts.
Does it kick off at noon?
It does kick off at noon. That's the only requirement.
No kidding. It is actually a really big deal for it's a packed stadium. Yeah. I mean, more than the varsity games get, I would say, But yeah, I thought, that probably gives you some direction for your coaching career. You're good at a lot of things. Maybe that's not one of them.
I did share a clip on Instagram, though. The only girl that really paid attention to me was my daughter. And I've been coaching her up for that moment. They were playing on CC's field. It was her senior year, and she absolutely ruined this girl from Regina. And I put it all over social media, and my wife got on me, and she was like, "I'm not sure Ruby wants you to be sharing that one." I'm like, "What are you talking about? She's a badass."
Yeah, I can see that going both ways, buddy.
Yeah,
but I appreciate your passion for it. That's for sure. Yeah.
Okay, Doug, would you tell the fans here about Jon Jansen when you asked him what country the punter was from one time, and he said what?
Well, half the punters in college football are from Australia. And so every game, I always ask Jon what country the opponent punter was. And so I do it every game, and he usually has He either says Australia or he says something off the wall. And I don't know which particular instance you're thinking about, but
The one he said Costa Rica.
oh, did he?
Go.
I mean, I'm throwing a dart at that point because and Doug and I pour over all these notes, right? And we're going and preparing for these games. And the one thing, and everybody knows how I feel about kickers and the kicking game itself. The one thing that I just can't force myself to do is study about a kicker. They're in there for, I don't know, maybe 4 reps a game. And I'm going to actually pay attention to some of the crap that actually matters.
Well, I'm here. Keep asking, John.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
you got to
well-
know your audience, right?
That's
So
right.
I believe there's a lot of kickers out there that just want to know.
So
Yeah.
Jack Miller's the only one of us that's in an office. Jack, I want to make sure we're not keeping you from a 3:30. I don't think you've said anything yet.
So
This
professional.
is
So
entertaining.
professional.
I'm good. I'm good just to watch this. Where's
I
the
said earlier, format's gone, but do you have a question for Hall of Honor inductee Jon Jansen?
not after what this crew has already been through. I don't think I really do. John, congratulations on the Hall of Honor. That's a special award and very deserving. I guess my only question, this is really directed at Brian, is how do we not get Scott Frost on this?
Yeah.
'Cause I think he'd have a few questions.
He's trying to win another national championship down there at UCF.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh, I got
that
it.
would have been what. Yeah, so Scott. I mean, Coach Franklin's available. He's he would have probably been had some
Oh.
free time today.
Oh,
Wow.
But
Doug, do you have a question for Jon Jansen, Hall of Honor inductee, other than where the punter is from? Where the
So-
hometown of the punter is for Northwestern?
I've told people I think John is like one of the all-time captains, and I don't know if you've gone public with the story about your role with Jim Hackett's crew to recruit Jim Harbaugh, but you were given an assignment, and you love the assignment. But tell the people what you were supposed to do with all the previous captains.
It was to rally the troops to give Jim Harbaugh a call and just let him know that, hey, we're all in. We are here for just the support of, and it even started before that with Brady Hoke. And I know Jim wasn't around a lot for Brady Hoke, but it was to rally the troops or whoever the head coach is going to be, but obviously recruiting Jim Harbaugh coming from San Francisco, trying to figure out how are we going to get him in Ann Arbor, and just to make sure that everybody would reach out and everybody was going to be at practice. Everybody was going to be a part of the program, and it's a big part of what my role is now at Michigan is bringing a lot of former guys, making sure that they know what's going on in the program, that they feel involved, they feel invested in the program. But at that time, it was about rallying the captains to make sure that hey, we were all on the same page and moving forward for Michigan.
We got some broadcast crew members, obviously people who've been in the booth before. Here's a video submission we got that I think not just John but others can provide some fun context to.
Big John, congratulations. This is Bob Lanigan for Big Ten Network. We worked together for a couple of seasons, and I couldn't be more happy for you. A great honor, well-deserved, but a little advice. Don't wear the Velcro gym shoes to the induction ceremony. I mean, it's bad enough you do it in public all the time anyway. No more Velcro gym shoes, John. Congrats, buddy.
I love it that he was upside down.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was. He's like, "Do we need to do it again?" I'm like, "No, this is actually perfect."
That's amazing. Bob and I got really close as he mentioned there. We worked together when I was with the Big Ten Network for about 3 years, and it was every road trip. Hey, it was going out to eat on Friday nights. It was the production meetings with the coaches. For 11 to 12 weekends a year, we lived together. And Bob, he always leaves me a note on that window. That was one of them. He usually makes some accusation about being a Taylor Swift fan. I forget what it was this year. There was a couple of more this year. I think it was my Halloween outfit that he was making fun of. But yeah, Bob's a big Chicago Cubs fan. So hopefully I'll get a chance to see him. I know he's excited that we're going to be in Wrigley Field this weekend.
All right,
Awesome.
another someone who could not be here with us. The only
hold on,
person,
brother.
Go ahead, Mark,
Hold
go
on
ahead,
one
Mark.
second. I actually got to run. I'm actually coaching now at Orchard Lake St. Mary's with on Jermaine Gonzalez's staff. So
Yeah, that's
Nice.
that's our boy's son who's coaching out there, right?
yeah.
Gonzalez-
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Well, Jermaine Gonzalez, right?
Yeah, our guy.
His son's the head coach.
Well, Jermaine Gonzalez is the head coach.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but his
you lost me
dad,
there.
his dad
I
played
said,
at
man.
Michigan.
Jermaine's dad did?
Yep.
Jermaine, then the son was Jermaine?
His dad
I
played.
think we
at
should
Michigan.
move on.
Yeah,
I think we
let's
should
move on. But yeah,
Yeah.
tell everybody good luck. Have fun. Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah. We're the third week in
Hey,
playoffs
Mark,
here, so
is
finally
Dan Petrie still out there?
he is not. There was an unfortunate event which I do not want to get into that he is no longer here.
Okay, sorry about that. Didn't mean
Hey,
to bring that up either.
good cue.
That's what we did at the Jim Brandstatter podcast.
Yeah.
I just didn't mean to bring that up because I did a.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, look, he was here
I did
forever.
a sports banquet out there.
Yeah. No, it's a special place. So my youngest is a quarterback, so he's a freshman, and he played on varsity and started 3 games this year. So he threw 6 touchdowns before halftime in one of them. So broke a school record. That was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, against
good for you.
Detroit Country Day. So anyways, but yeah, it's playoffs time, man. I gotta run. John, I do want to tell you, man, congratulations. Like I said, you're my oldest friend. You're someone who's always accountable and dependable. You're an unbelievable person, and you stand for everything that big block M stands for. So I appreciate what you do in front of the camera and for everything you do behind it. Just being a great friend, man. Take care of
Thanks,
yourself.
Mark.
Congrats.
Hey, Mark.
Thank you,
All
bud.
right,
Hey, good
see
luck.
you guys. Be
Yep.
well. I have no idea how to turn this thing off. You're probably
I'll get
gonna
you
see me for the next 20 minutes.
I got you, buddy.
It's like Chinese arithmetic over here.
Fan from studio. Gone.
There you go.
Hey, Jim. I was talking this past weekend, or a couple weekends ago, I should say, because we had to buy last weekend, about when we used to do the games during COVID, and we would be sitting upstairs with you and Deerdorf, and the food would come in. And we had that big. It really was kind of a lot. Really, when you go back and take a look at it, it was fun, wasn't it? I mean, with all of us up there and how that game kind of developed. It was tough, but it was fun.
No, it really was, and I think Tony Butler deserves tons of credit because he was the one who figured out how to put crowd noise to it. And we were up there at night, first game. I think we played Rutgers. I forget.
Minnesota.
That's right. We came out and beat Minnesota. And I'm up there and I'm in an empty stadium. It is eerie. And I put my headsets on and we start doing the game. And it feels like we're doing the game. And I'm doing it off of 3 different monitors. And then all of a sudden there's a first break. I take my headset off and it's deathly quiet.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, wow, how did that happen? And I looked around at Tony and I said, how did you do that? Because he made it sound like it was a real game with real people. And that ambient sound, it made the difference in the world, not just to the listener, but to us as broadcasters. But it was very odd sitting up there in an empty stadium doing a football game. I'm telling you, that was – I mean, I remember when they were at home and the parents would go, you'd hear some of the players down there yelling at some of the other guys. You could hear everything from our field mic.
The best part about that is Jim and Dan had to work. And so Doug and I would do the pregame show. I'd hop on at halftime and we do the postgame. And then the rest of the time while you guys were working, Doug and I got a chance to kick back, eat pizza and drink beer.
I know you were in the booth next to us, and you were sitting around drinking coffee, having beer, eating subs.
That was still back in the Michigan suit coat 2 days, right? The
That's right.
Block M coat. Yeah. Those were.
Yeah, it was odd, different. But I think, to be honest with you, I think it's some of the best stuff we ever did because we made it sound like it was the real deal. Yeah. And it wasn't. I mean, and we had a horrible year. I still say it's one of the great comebacks of all time in Michigan football. In 2020, that team didn't want to be there. I mean, you could tell that there was a problem. And in one short year, Jim Harbaugh pulled that whole thing together, hired new coaches, got new leadership on the team, and in 2021, won the Big Ten championship, beat Ohio State. Now, anybody want to tell me if they've ever seen a bigger turnaround than that? I'd be glad to hear about it.
Jon Jansen as a communicator. All right. So John already texted his wife, Lisa, who was a huge help with what has already happened and a few more things we got. So I want to try to make sure we're not taking too much time. Again, if there's an exit ramp any of you need, please use it now. I want to make sure I'm being respectful of your time. Doug?
I have another interview to do at 3:50, which it is right now.
Great.
So I can come back later. I'm sure Brandy will still be talking.
Hey, Doug, it's good to see you. I don't see you enough. And so it's
right.
good to see you. I hope all is well.
It's going great. And we'll see you at Ohio State.
I'll check in before the game.
All right. John, congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Doug. See you in the morning. Yep.
Guys, I got to run too. I got to get ready for a 4:00 meeting here. Some of us have to work day jobs, so I'll see you guys at Wrigley this weekend. John, congratulations again, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, bud. We'll see you.
Jack, congratulations on all your success.
Yeah. Great job, Jack. Keep it up.
Yeah. Love working with you, buddy. Good job.
Love working with you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we do this? Jim and Bruce, you guys give your parting shots, and then we'll do a few more fun things with John here to wrap it up.
I would say this. I'll let Jim, because Jim is the legend there. He can top me anytime. But I will say this. I remember when we had the national championship trophy, and it was going to be given away in '97, and it was at a basketball game, and Lloyd couldn't be there, and we had John, and I remember jumping over the scorer's table to get the trophy and get it to you, and being lucky enough to MC it. And the way John presented himself at that time, you could tell that he understood what it meant to be a communicator. He understood what it meant to say the important things when it needed to be said. And John, I think you're doing that right now, and you're doing a hell of a job on the broadcast. Seriously, you're following Deerdorf and Brandstatter as a color commentator, and both of those guys were outstanding. And I think you match up with both of those guys really well, and it's always fun to sit there and to give you as many stats as I possibly can. Some of them are even right, so but congratulations.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Brandy, we'll give you the final word before we rattle off some things.
Well, a couple of things from both of these guys that are on the screen. Right behind me, you can see there's a little plaque, not next to the picture. That is the stat chart from the 2021 Michigan-Ohio State game that Bruce Motti did. Dan and I signed that, and that's one of the few things I have in my office now. I framed it, and that has both the stats from the Ohio State-Michigan game in 2021 when we beat them. And that's one of the few things in the office. And that's Bruce's writing on there and all of his stats. His stats suck. They're terrible. They're nowhere near correct. But the idea that stat sheet was there on that desk in that booth that game, and Dan and I signed it. It's one of those things that I cherish. And the other thing I cherish is one of the great things at Michigan is we talk about tradition. We talk about foundation. And even in the broadcast booth, we think about this. We've gone from Ufer in the 40s to Beckman in the 70s to Brandstatter in the 90s to 2000, and now Jon Jansen. All of those people had great Michigan roots. And the fact that there is that tradition carrying on for me as a Michigan guy, as a Michigan football player, a guy who wears the black M and does it with great honor, to have John being there as a member of the family. I know that our broadcast that we call our own, Dan and I call our own, I feel a great kinship to Ufer and to all of those guys. And I know John has that same feeling. He's carrying on a tradition. Hopefully in 20 years, whenever he decides that it's time for him to hang him up, there's somebody out there with that background, that Michigan background in football, that will carry on following him, because I don't think there's anywhere in the country. I think if you look anywhere in the country over the course of the years, way back to, like I said, the 40s, to where we are now, that can boast the kind of tradition and lineage that's been in that broadcast booth over all those years. And that to me is special and important. And we've got Jon Jansen and his singular focus to come back to Michigan after a great career as an NFL player. We have him to thank for that. Hopefully he'll stay on for a long time. Congratulations, Jon, for the Hall of Honor, but more importantly, for just who you are.
Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. And it's one of those things where, and I know you had this as a player, you learned from those upperclassmen. And then before you knew it, you were that upperclassman and you were passing those things off to the guys that were to come. That is one of the great traditions at Michigan. That's why captains are always upperclassmen. And they pass those things down. It's been the same in the booth. Being able to learn from you guys, learn on the job as I'm doing it now, still being able to talk to you and Dan, and the relationship that Doug and I have, to be able to do it with one of my best friends. With so much change in college football right now, it can be daunting from Sunday to Friday. But then when game day comes around, to be able to talk Michigan football over the course of the tailgate show, pregame show, the game itself, tell the story of Michigan football as it is today, I'm just living a dream. And I thank you for helping me along the way.
You know what, guys, before we let you go, because another person in that team, he couldn't be here. He was the one that, because of the reschedule, couldn't make it today, but would have last week. I think Bruce and Jim will get a kick out of this question.
Jon Jansen, you are the man. It's Jason Avant here. Congratulations on being inducted into the Michigan Hall of Fame. You deserve it. You played your tail off. You represented the university to the highest standards. Congratulations, buddy. Question for you. What was it like being a 6'6", 275, 290-pound sex symbol in the late 1990s on the University of Michigan campus?
Well, to be honest, Jason, it was a wasted time because we didn't have NIL. I missed out on the calendars. I missed out on all of the modeling opportunities. But thankfully, NIL is finally here, and just hoping to get a little slice of the pie.
Unbelievable.
There you go. I got one more clip. I was hoping that Mark would have time to do it and be on here, because Mark helped me get it, but I got one more audio clip.
This is Brian Greasy, and I just wanted to congratulate Jon Jansen on his induction into the Michigan Hall of Honor. Couldn't think of a better and more deserving person, and I was so fortunate to play with Jon, and I know our team was so fortunate to have Jon as a captain of our 1997 Michigan football team. And I just have one question, Jon. What was it about your time as a student athlete at Michigan that potentially helped you to find, either personally or professionally, your purpose in life? Can't wait to hear the answer, pal. Congrats.
Jeez, he's going deep.
I know it was a tough flip from the Jason sex symbol question, but I mean, hey,
I never knew Brian could throw that deep. I mean, geez.
I know. Hey, I will say this: when you listen to Brian, or when we had Mark on, and when I start to get excited about Michigan football, do you not hear the tone and the cadence of Lloyd Carr? I mean, you could hear it a lot when Brian is talking there, like and that's the influence that he had. And I probably would say, and I said it earlier, it's, Michigan provides a great education, and I had a great experience playing football, and I learned so much through the sport of football, but it was the men that were leading the Michigan program that made all the difference in my life. And it was those guys that had come before that were always coming back. And Jim talks about the tradition that we have in the broadcast booth. but to have Jim Brandstatter there, somebody that we could talk to, ask questions about what was it like in that 69 Ohio State game. And, so when we would get to, and Jerry Hanlon would always write us a letter, leading into that Ohio State game. But it was, and I know I'm going to leave guys off, but on that staff, just think how great that staff was with Lloyd as the head coach, Soup as the wide receiver coach. And then you had Mike DeBoard, Terry Malone, Jim Herman on defense, Vance Bedford. Like you go down the list, Brady Hoke is the defensive line coach. We had such good men that were coaching, teaching more than just the game of football. And that's what made the difference in so many guys' lives. It all started with Coach Carr, but the leadership that he showed in bringing the right guys in. And my dad, when I left to go to Ann Arbor, one of the things that he would always tell people, why did Jon choose Michigan? Are you okay with him going to Michigan? And he said, yeah, I'm fine with him going to Michigan because I've learned so much about Mike DeBoard, who was going to be my position coach. Les Miles was there at the time. All of these guys that were great football coaches, but that was always second to who they were as men and what they wanted and they needed from us.
Well said. Some comments from viewers. Adam, congratulating you. Also, cut from a different cloth. Congratulations, Jon Jansen. Mr. Gary something. We got one more surprise, but Jim, Bruce, appreciate you guys coming by. Thanks for making this a fun conversation.
Thank you for asking, Brian. Appreciate your work. And John, be well, my friend. Take care.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Bruce.
I'll talk to you.
All right. And good luck this weekend. Make sure you bring us home a win.
We will do that.
All righty.
There you go. All right. Two legends, their own right, Jim Brandstatter and Bruce Motti. We'll let the final word come from Jon Jansen's family here.
When Jon was in 7th grade, he had his first opportunity to play football. There was a sign up after school, and he was rushing to the room. He got a card and filled out information, and the coaches did ask on that questionnaire, what position would you like to play? Well, after all of this happened, the coaches later told me what he wrote down. He said, I don't care. I just want to get on the field and hit somebody.
And Jon, do you remember when you were just a little guy, I asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you said, well, Mom, I want to be a football player. I said, but Jon, what do you really want to be?
Congratulations, Jon.
Dad, I appreciate it. I wouldn't be here. I talk about all the great men that were here in Ann Arbor, but from my entire life, but certainly from 0 to 18, I had all the tools given to me by my parents to be set up for success. And they've been there every step of the way and still are to this day, as you can see. So love you, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. And now you are returning the favor.
Hi, Dad. Sorry I can't join the Zoom call. I just wanted to say how proud I am to have you as my dad and what an awesome accomplishment it is that you got inducted into the Hall of Fame. You've worked so hard to get to this point, and it's inspiring to all 5 of us all the time. And you've instilled in all of us the meaning of hard work and how to do it with love and how far it can get us all. I hope that you take time to celebrate yourself and acknowledge how big of an accomplishment this is. I love you, and go blue and boiler up.
Hammer down.
We allowed that to stay. Tried to cut it, but she does go there.
I normally enjoy asking those hard questions or giving those this tributes like I did to Freddie J, and he walked away in last couple of weeks ago tearing up, and now I am. So Brian, thank you so much for putting all of this together.
Well, big thanks to your wife Lisa as well. We got a couple more.
Hey Dad, I just wanted to say congrats on being entered into the Michigan Hall of Fame. It means something very special to be a Wolverine, and it means something even more special to be one of the greatest Wolverines to ever do it. So congrats. Well, it's well deserved and a long time coming, and go Blue.
The pride of Michigan rowing.
That's right. That's my current Wolverine right there, Ruby on the rowing team.
Yeah,
she's crushing it.
No doubt. And then the only one who followed the directions.
Hey, Dad, so proud of you. Congrats on the Michigan Hall of Fame. Teddy has a question for you.
What's your favorite superhero? Say bye, Dad. Bye, Dad.
That's amazing.
So we go out with the obvious one of who's your favorite superhero?
Oh boy, my favorite superhero. I've got two of them. My dad would be at the top of the hit list. So many sacrifices that they've always made to allow me to do what I'm doing and be here right now. I'm the man I am because of my dad. And then the other one, the guy that I keep talking about as well, Lloyd Carr. Both of those guys really shaped my life. Every decision I make right now, I think about, how would my dad handle this? How would Coach Carr handle this? And I always come up with what I think is going to be the right answer. Amazing. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Thanks to Lisa, John's wife. Thanks to all the kids. Thanks to Bob from Big Ten Network, which was one I thought of right before kick against Purdue. I'm like, oh man, this would be great.
Yeah.
But also,
speaking of Michigan legends, I'm going to have to tell him to wait, but we got Jake Long calling in right now.
I should send him the link. No, it's been really fun to put it together. And a huge shout out again. Lisa was the rock star in all of this. I was trying to text her when you were either at Shem or at the studios. I didn't want my name to pop up on there, but why the heck is Brian texting my wife? And Eddie Mangus to get Coach Carr. That was really cool. So big shout out to Eddie for his help with that, and to all those who joined in. Congratulations. And this one a little different than what you were expecting, but I'm just glad it maintained an actual surprise. That was the goal.
It did. And I apologize for canceling last.
It's quite all right.
Like such a bad person.
I know. I just kept saying, yeah, John, we got a Conquering Heroes episode interview. Just block out an hour. I know it's a little finicky, but it worked out even better this way. Because I think, honestly, Mark was able to stay on a lot longer this week. So things happen for a reason. Yeah. John, congratulations.
And as you know, I'm probably more happy to do this one than the other one I was going to do.
Yeah, I made that person seem like a jerk. Oh, I need to just block out an hour and do this and all that. So we won't say who that is. They did not send it a tribute, though. All right. For John, for everyone who joined us, I'm Brian, and we'll be back to the normal cadence of this episode next week.